Hey everybody, this is Nick from Kinetic Camera, and as you can see behind me, it's holiday time here at the store. But we're not going to be talking about Black Friday deals or any other holiday sales coming up. We're going to be talking about this brand new Nikon camera, the Z6. Now, we've already talked about the Z7, and I'll put the link in the description. And that Z7 is the top-of-the-line full-frame mirrorless camera, brand new from Nikon. This Z6 is lower priced and has a few other caveats, but in many ways it's almost exactly the same camera. So let's just talk about some of the similarities between this and the Z7, which unfortunately I don't have with me because we sold out of them. So we'll have more of those soon. Anyway, so the Z6 is exactly the same body, the shape, the size, everything about it, the button layout, the screen, the top LCD, everything is exactly the same as the Z7. So if you're looking for something that has more or less customizable buttons one way or the other, it doesn't make a difference. The Z6 and the Z7 are equally designed. And one thing I've mentioned about the Z7 that I also like with the Z6 is the grip. This is a nice, comfortable grip, and it gives you plenty of room for your entire hand. I'm assuming you don't have giant hands, but for a mirrorless camera, a full-frame mirrorless, it's very comparable to the Sony a7 III in terms of performance. But as far as the size goes, it gives you a little bit more room for your hand. So that's a nice thing about both cameras. You'll see that they have the new Z mount, which is different from Nikon's old F mount in that it has a larger diameter and a shorter flange distance. So that gives Nikon more capability when they're designing new lenses. It gives them better optical capability, gives them better image stabilization. And by the way, both cameras also have 5-axis in-body image stabilization. So any lens that you attach to this, whether it's a native mount Z lens that they're coming out with, or whether it's an old F mount lens that you have attached with an adapter, they're all going to benefit from VR capability. So again, they both have the top OLED screen, same button layout. They both have a single XQD card slot. Now, XQD is a new emerging format. Nikon has used it in some of their other professional level DSLRs, and it's more robust, it's stronger, and it's also faster than most SD cards. And yes, it's more expensive, but prices will come down eventually, and if you buy one now, you're going to have it for a long time because they're very durable cards. So all you need is one slot there. Both cameras have a magnesium alloy body. Both of them are weather sealed, so you can use these cameras outside, you can use them in inclement weather. They also both have an OLED viewfinder, and these have a very fast refresh rate. They both have a 2.3 tilting LCD screen, and this is a touch screen, and that's on both models, the Z6 and the Z7. On the side, you've got a microphone input, you've got a headphone jack, and you've also got a USB-C connection as well as an HDMI out. So you've got all the connections necessary to do video work, and again, that's on both models. And with both models, you've got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, you've got the same exact image processor. You can take 4K video, you can take 1080p video if you wish. They both have 10-bit video via HDMI output. They both have silent shutter, and they both use the same battery, although the battery life on the Z7 is listed as a little bit better than the Z6. Why that is, I'm not exactly sure. So I've talked about all these things that the two cameras have in common, so what makes them different? What makes them $1,400 different? Well, number one, the Z7 has a 45.7 megapixel processor, and it has no anti-aliasing filter. This one, the Z6, has a 24.5 megapixel resolution, and that is more than enough for most photographers. And it does have an anti-aliasing filter, but that is so you don't get moire patterns on people's shirts when you're doing regular portrait shooting, things like that. The anti-aliasing filter, removing that on the Z7, gives you a little bit more detail, gives you a little bit more potential sharpness, but that's really only used for very large print applications, as well as people who are doing landscapes and need tons and tons of detail. Now, another benefit of the Z6 is that it has better low light capability. The native ISO on this camera is 100 to 51,200, so you get better low light capability than you do with the Z7, which starts at 64 and goes up to 25,600. Of course, with a lower ISO, lower native ISO, the Z7 can also give you potentially more detail in those big landscape shots or print projects, so that is what that would be used for. Now, as far as autofocus goes, the Z6 and the Z7 have about the same autofocus speed, but the Z7 does have more phase detect autofocus points. The Z6 has 273, and the Z7 has much more at 493. They're still both going to give you really fast autofocus, but the Z7 gives you more flexibility. You're able to pinpoint more areas on your screen if you want to get, you really want to pinpoint your focus. Now, the Z6 is the preferred camera for people who are going to be shooting video. Why? Because it has less resolution. Now, that might sound counterintuitive at first, but because it has less resolution, it's actually able to use the entire image sensor and give you better performance. It gives you a full pixel readout over the course of over the size of the entire sensor. With the Z7, you get full pixel readout only on a crop mode, only on APS-C mode. So this will actually give you better video capability. And this is also a little bit faster. Again, because of the smaller resolution, this shoots faster. It gives you up to 12 continuous frames per second, whereas the Z7 gives you 9 frames per second. And the most enticing thing of all, the Z6, the body only, is only $2,000, and the Z7 is $3,400. And you can also get this nice Nikon 24-70 S lens. This is made for the Z mount, and this can come bundled with the Z6 or the Z7 for an extra $600. So for the Z6, the total would be $2,600. For the Z7, it would be about $4,000. But this is a very nice lens. It is very versatile. It gives you your standard 24-70 focal length, and this is an f4 lens, so that is maximum aperture of f4 throughout the entire zoom range. And if you don't happen to have any Z mount lenses, or you're not in the mood to purchase any at the moment, you can still use your old Nikon lenses with this FTZ adapter. Now, this is a $250 accessory that allows you to use all of your old lenses with the new Z camera. And then you can just attach your AF or AFS lenses to this mount, and it will work on full frame lenses, it'll work on crop sensor lenses. It'll also provide, because this camera has in-body image stabilization, you're going to get stabilized capability on any lens that you put on here. So if you're using an unstabilized prime lens, you'll get stabilization on this camera. If you're using a lens that already has VR built into the lens, this will also give you roll axis, so you'll have 3-axis stabilization for that lens as opposed to the usual 2. So there it is, the Nikon Z6. Again, it comes body only for $1999, or you can get it with the 24-70 f4 lens for $2,600. And either way, you can get yours at Cometa Camera. Come visit us in Amityville, or check us out at cometa.com.